Today we're letting go of perfection and creating our own dreamy painting inspired by Monet. Hi, I'm Zainab, once a realist painter turned abstract artist. I've been painting for over 6 years, and on this channel I share with you all of my tips and tricks. In this tutorial, I'll be talking you through everything you need from supplies, techniques, and step-by-step on how to paint this gorgeous painting. If you're ready to relax and paint something beautiful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. For supplies today, I have a square canvas board, a jar of water, spray bottle, towel rag, a flat brush, a filbert brush. I'm also using a paper palette, but you can use a plain plate. For colours, I'll be using crimson red, cadmium yellow, lemon yellow, and black. I'm also using cerulean blue to create a different tone of green, and of course some titanium white. To start off, I'd start by generously spraying my canvas board with my spray bottle. You want your canvas board to be nice and wet, but you don't want it to be very soaked. I have all my colours ready to go on my palette, and I'm starting with my filbert brush. I'm taking some crimson red and a little bit of the cadmium yellow. This is to create a deep orange colour. And we'll be starting off first by painting a sky. I'm using very loose brush strokes. You do not need to worry about doing anything neat at this stage. This is the first part where we are just laying down colour. If you feel that your brush is getting dry strokes on the canvas, get your spray bottle and re-wet it. Monet's work is distinguished by these short brush strokes and lots of different colours, and using light and dark to really implement the way that light moves in nature. So in today's abstract piece, we're using his way of painting to inspire us and create something that is a little bit in his style, which is Impressionism, but at the same time also making it my own. I absolutely love working with bold brush strokes. I think it is so beautiful to be able to create something that from far away, it gives the appearance of something that you can see in nature. It brings a memory back, but at the same time, when you go up close, all you can see are the tiny little marks that you've made everywhere with different colors. So for the sky, I'm just going between the crimson red, the yellows, and I'm not trying to blend it too much. I want the strokes to be visible. Just like Claude Monet's work, you want to be able to see each brush and the movement that it had. That gives the impact of Impressionism. Now grabbing some white, I'm going towards the bottom of the sky to make it lighter. We're going to be fading this into the landscape later on for a nice misty effect. I'm swapping over to my flat brush, dipping it in water and then drying it slightly on my towel rag, and this is just to get rid of any excess water, but we still want the brush to be a little bit wet. And I'm very slowly, with a light hand, holding my hand at the end of the brush, I'm going to slowly start dragging it across in the horizontal strokes so that I can slowly and very gently blend some of the colours together, and that's just to give a more softer look and appearance to the sky. Using a clean brush, I'm just wetting the bottom part of the sky where it's going to meet. We need this to be really nice and wet so that they easily bleed and blend into each other when we start adding our landscape colours onto the canvas. I'm going over again with some white, as I just felt like didn't have enough paint to be able to get a really nice smooth blend with the colour that we'll be putting at the bottom of the canvas. A super easy way to get a beautiful shade of green is by taking any kind of yellow. So I've got lemon yellow, which is a cool color, and cadmium yellow, which is a warm toned yellow, and you want to mix it with black. You are going to get a very nice earth toned green, and you're not going to have that kind of shop bought straight out of the tube color green. You're going to get a very natural kind of green. So I've just mixed that with my lemon yellow and some black, and I will be later mixing the cadmium yellow with some black for a different shade of green. Rewetting my canvas as it has dried a little bit since the beginning, so I just want to make sure that my canvas is wet before starting so that the colour can bleed nicely together, so we get a soft look even though we'll still be able to see strokes. So for our first layer, we're just going with the green that we've mixed with the black and yellow, and I'm using short brisk strokes. You do not need to be placing these in a specific way, but I am keeping my brush at the same angle, which is holding it towards the side so that I'm getting the thin part of the brush that is going down onto the canvas. Going back to the deep orange that we mixed for the sky, I'm now going in with the same kind of method of strokes, and I'm placing them little bit by little bit all around and just kind of dabbing it around the canvas, mixing my cadmium yellow with the black to get a different shade of green. You can go darker or lighter. We want to play with different values so the painting is not flat. So I'm now going with shorter strokes and making them smaller, so we're starting to get that Claude Monet effect where we're creating an image with just using the same motion over and over again. This is a very relaxing way to paint. You don't have to overthink about shapes or what you're doing. The only thing you really need to think about is your color, doing the same brush strokes over and over again, and it's very therapeutic to just repeat the same kind of movement again and again. Whilst the white bottom of the sky and the green is wet, I'm going to grab my clean flat brush and I'm going to slowly, in small movements, go forwards and backwards between the green and the white. This is going to create a very beautiful misty effect between the two colours, which is going to give us the play that the foreground is near us and where the sky meets the landscape is the background and distant away from us. Mixing some of the lemon yellow with the crimson red and some white to create a orange coral color, and we're going to be using this on top of the green and where we've placed that deep color orange. A nice way to get some depth in your painting is choosing 2 or 3 colors and making them in different values, so a very dark toned orange, a more peachy toned orange, and then a more light toned orange, almost yellow color. This gives you a sense of depth because with light you get different shades, so wherever the sun is going to be coming or where it's going to be reflecting, you will have lighter colors on top, and where it's more deep and shaded, the colors will get deeper and darker. To get a lighter shade of green, I'm mixing more yellow and white into the black green that we already have. This gives us a more vibrant green to work with, and I'm still using these short mini strokes and placing them wherever. You just play around with it, and there isn't really any specific rule to this. Just keep doing the strokes until you're building up enough depth that it starts to give off the impression of a landscape. Monet used a lot of blue in his paintings, so I've taken some cerulean blue and mixing in some of my yellow into it to create a bluish green and a little bit of crimson red to neutralize it so that it isn't too blue, and I'm adding some more lemon yellow just to make the green a little bit more vibrant. And now I have this more blue tone green and I'm doing the same motion. The canvas is starting to dry a little bit, which means the colours are now going to become more opaque and more vibrant in their appearance. I've got some cerulean blue and I've mixed it with a little bit of black, and I'm going over where I've put the blue shade green that we mixed before with the cerulean blue and lemon yellow, and I'm adding these little mini strokes everywhere, and this is to kind of shade over that first blue-green colour that we've done. Monet did use a lot of blue in his paintings, so I wanted to also use some blue, even though it is mostly green that we are using for today. The painting is looking a little bit flat with all the different shades of green that we have so far. So I've taken some black and mixed it into the green shade that we have already mixed together. And I'm just going over and adding more depth by adding this really dark shade of green. I have some cadmium yellow and I'm taking some white, and I'll be adding a tiny little bit of crimson red into it to create this super light peachy colour. And I'm doing the same motion that I have been doing since the beginning, which is just lots of little strokes everywhere. Grabbing my clean flat brush, I'm now going to be using only one side of it, which is at the very end. I'm going to dip it into the white paint and I'm going to create these little white dots everywhere all around the sky. This is just to add a bit of playfulness and some interest to the sky to give off the impression of stars or little clouds moving everywhere. Using some crimson red and white without mixing it, I'm now going in and creating these little vertical dots and strokes, and this is to give off the impression of some flowers. And I'm just doing this ever so slowly. You want to be taking your time with this, because if you push too hard you're going to get these really big flowers, which is not something that Monet ever did. It was all very small, tiny little strokes, so we want to make sure that we keep implementing that. I also go in with some cerulean blue and white, and I'm also changing it by just dotting little white and blue dots everywhere to give off the impression of some more flowers. And you can add as much or as little as you want of this. I like it to be quite a lot, as I do like to contrast against the green with some blue and some pink, as I think it makes the painting look more full and interesting to the eye. To finish off, I'm using a slightly firmer hand and doing the same vertical petals a little bit everywhere all over the canvas, just to add a change of size in the flowers. I hope you feel inspired and enjoyed painting with me today. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share what you created in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next painting tutorial.